Hey everybody, welcome to week 4. Okay, so we're going to continue our journey through Microsoft Office. We've been talking about OneDrive, we've been talking about Microsoft Outlook, and I hope that you found that helpful. You know, the idea of Outlook as an information management platform, that it's more than just sending and receiving emails. Now we're going to get into Microsoft Word. Now, of all the different apps or software programs in Office, this is the one that's probably most people are familiar with, is Microsoft Word. This is where you write your papers. This is where you write your memos. This is where we do a lot of different kinds of things. And we're going to find out very quickly that there is a lot you can do with Microsoft Word. The lecture is very helpful. There's a lot of videos in them, so make sure you watch all of them. It's going to tell you, for instance, about the difference in Word in Office 365, kind of the web-based version, and the downloadable version of Microsoft Word. There, you basically have Microsoft Word in both, but each one will have different features. You can write a paper in one and open it up in the other, right? But there are going to be some different feature differences that you want to pay careful attention to. We are also The primary thing you're going to be doing this week is a word assessment, in which you will take information that is provided to you and you will format it according to the instructions that are also provided to you. You don't need to write anything on your own. Everything you need is in the instructions. You're going to just copy and paste the material that you're told to do, and then format that according to the instructions. Now, this is teaching you how to use Word and how to format accordingly in Word. Now, there are videos on how to do each and every step at the end of the week 4 lecture. So when you get to the end of the lecture, don't just close it up. There are a series of videos there, and that's going to show you everything. So when students inevitably come to me and say, "Oh, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not sure what to do. Oh, can you help me with this?" I'm going to tell you, go back to the videos at the end of the lecture. That is everything you need. And I spent a lot of time working on those, and the design team spent a lot of time organizing it. Make sure you use the lecture and those videos in order to do the word assessment, okay? Make sure, make sure, make sure. I can't say it enough. That's where you're going to want to go. There's going to be a short quiz too on Microsoft Word, and so those are the two major assignments. But you're going to have a lot of really helpful information on Word and kind of getting into it, and then learning how to do some rather complex things in Word from the lecture. A lot of cool stuff. Now, another element that we're going to be talking about this week is APA formatting. This is the American Psychological Association. This is a certain way of formatting papers that you would write in college, okay? And so going forward, when you write research papers, you're going to write them in APA formatting, okay? Now, I'm not going to say much about that now. That's in the lecture, okay? So you're going to kind of change things like margins and how you do your paragraphs and the font size, all those kinds of things are related to APA formatting. You're going to have a title page and you're going to have page numbering. Those are all APA formatting elements. So you're going to be learning about APA formatting this week, okay? And that's going to be a key part of the word assessment as well. Now, one of the reasons, I should say, one of the reasons why we use APA formatting in papers is to help students avoid falling into plagiarism. So plagiarism is an issue. Plagiarism is where you are passing off someone else's work as your own. And this is a form of theft. It's a form of intellectual property theft, really. And so sometimes it's done intentionally, sometimes it's done inadvertently, but it's still plagiarism. So we use these things like APA formatting to help prevent plagiarism, because that does happen in colleges all across the country, including here at Bryan Stratton. So you want to be very mindful of that when you go through the lecture. Now, with that said, we also have in the discussion this week, one of our threads is going to be on plagiarism and the importance of dealing with this before it pops up, of avoiding it, that kind of thing. Now, to that point, I also want to say before I close here the discussion. Last week's discussion was great. We had those 3 threads. Everybody was really into it. Everyone had a great time. So we're going to do the same thing this week. Now we're going to have 3 different threads. One of them is going to be on plagiarism and avoiding plagiarism. So again, pay attention to what you're reading in the lecture, or to what you're learning about in the lecture. There's going to be another one that's just going to be a fun one. Okay, it's going to be fun. I'm not going to tell you anything about it right now, but you're going to have fun with it. It's going to require you to share a little bit of something, but it's really, my students always enjoy doing this one, and frankly, it's one of my favorites throughout the term, in fact. And then there's going to be a third one, and this one's going to be a return to social media. Okay, we're going to talk specifically about the design of social media platforms. We're talking Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest, doesn't really matter. All these different social media platforms that you're familiar with. We're going to talk about how they're specifically designed to addict users. Okay. There is the reality that there is addiction, and it's a growing addiction. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? But is part of that because of how these platforms are actually designed, like the certain features within it, how they actually make things look, in the interface. So one of those threads is going to be about social media addiction. Now, same thing applies this week in discussion as last week. You really just need to get in, make your initial post, or make your first long post in one of my threads, and that counts as an initial post, and then make at least 3 replies to your classmates. You can be in one of those threads, you can be in 2, you can be in all 3, doesn't really matter, but you do need to get into discussion. I find that when you have options, students are more likely to get into discussion a lot more. So that's what we're going to be doing in discussion. We've got the word assessment, we've got a quiz, we've got a very important lecture, lots to keep you busy this week, folks. If you have questions, anything at all, let me know. You know where to find me. Thanks, folks.